Look, it's not that I want to be that person that complains all the time about patterns, but... Hi, my name is Sarah, and my channel is all about sewing and styling a handmade wardrobe. Today we're going to talk about my recent makes, and I'm just going to start off with a big ol' complaint. The first pattern that I want to talk about is McCall's 8148, which is a pattern for pleated pants and shorts. It's a Learn to Sew Level 3 pattern, and it has slash pockets in the front, it's very high-waisted, and it has welt pockets in the back with a tapered leg. The fabric for my pants is a 100% cotton twill fabric. It's a Robert Kaufman Ventana twill that I got at fabric.com in this beige color. And the size that I made was I made a size 12 at the waist and I graded to a size 8 at the hip. I've been wanting to make a few more work-appropriate pants for my wardrobe, and I've been wanting to try this pleated trouser style for a while because it's very popular right now, and I did not have anything like that in my closet. Now, I am not normally someone who is against Big Four instructions. I have defended them on many occasions on this channel, but this particular pattern's instructions were absolutely atrocious. Especially because it was a Learn to Sew pattern, I expected the instructions to be very detailed and holding your hand through it, and they were not. There was your typical instructions with lines and diagrams, but I had a really hard time interpreting some of the diagrams because they didn't show a close enough view. So one of the first things that I did that was a mistake is that when I was trying to sew the welt pockets, I actually ended up sewing on my welt pieces upside down. So when I cut the pant leg open and turned all of the welt pieces to the inside, the raw edges of my welts were actually showing in the little window, which is obviously not the right thing to do. And because I had already cut open my pant leg and I didn't have enough fabric to cut a new leg, I was really very frustrated. So fortunately for me, even though I had been sewing both legs at the same time, I hadn't actually cut open the second leg, I'd only cut open the one. So I very carefully unpicked the whole thing, and instead of trying to mess with the instructions, I'm pretty sure, I won't get into the details, but I'm pretty sure there's actually an error on one of the pattern pieces as well. I just decided I never use back pockets on my pants anyway, I'm just gonna put on fake welts. Now I have made fake welts before, and so I knew how to do it, and so I very simply just cut some new pieces of fabric to use as my welts and basically sewed them in the little window, and there's no actual pocket behind it. I really wish that I had just done this in the first place because trying to stitch around that little window when I'd already cut it open was not an easy thing to do, and as a result my welts don't look super clean, but you know, you do what you gotta do. But because the instructions said that it was a Learn to Sew, I thought that it would be pretty thorough in showing me how to do it. I don't think I've ever done a double welt pocket before, so I thought I would give it a try, and that turned out to be a mistake. The second thing that I didn't really like about this pattern is the ultra high waist. The way that the pattern pieces are marked, it clearly shows that your natural waist is actually supposed to be an inch below the top of the pants, so they sit about an inch above your natural waist, which is really high. Now this might be something that is unique to my own body shape, but the problem that I was having was that I had to make the size 12 waistband to fit around my rib cage being that high, but it doesn't want to stay there on my body because my waist is just right below that and it curves in a little bit, so the whole thing just kind of wants to fall down to below my waist, and then that drops the crotch too much and it looks very unflattering. But I couldn't actually tighten the waistband enough to keep it up at my rib cage, because if I made it tight enough to where it would stay in place, then I wouldn't be able to either breathe or sit down. So the solution that I came up with to deal with this is I added some elastic to the back waistband. I tried on the pants where they were supposed to sit, and then I just pinched out of the back a little bit of fabric so that I would know how much shorter my elastic needed to be. And then I cut my elastic. It ended up being about 1¼ inches shorter than the original waistband, and I inserted that on the inside of the waistband and tacked it down so that it's not visible on the outside. And that actually fixed it so that the pants stay up where they are supposed to, but I can still breathe in and out. My rib cage has room to expand so that I can move around and sit down. Now, if I were doing this all over again, instead of going through all of that, I think I would actually just lower the waistband to sit at my natural waist instead, and then I wouldn't have that problem where it wants to fall down, because just in my opinion, I like high waists, but I just don't feel like the waist really needs to be that high. The third thing that I was not crazy about with this pattern is that it uses hook and bar closures. It actually uses 2 of them. I don't like hook and bars. I just find them a little bit annoying when you have to go to the bathroom of unhooking two different closures and hooking them back up again. I prefer a button. And so I was actually planning to replace it with a button, but what I did not realize is that the way the pattern is drafted, there's no underlap on the zipper. So basically there's just no space to put a button. You pretty much have to do the hook and loop. So I gritted my teeth and I did it, but I'm not happy about it because I just don't like that kind of closure. The fourth thing that I did not like about these pants is that they are really baggy. So as I said, I made a 12 in the waist, but I graded down to a size 8 at the hip, and I still find them to be really, really loose. Now, after I had finished the pants and realized how baggy they were, I did try to go back and fix it. So I unpicked the crotch seam and I unpicked the inseam down to the knee. I did not want to unpick the side seams because of the pockets, but I basically tried every combination that I could think of. I shortened the crotch seam a little bit. I took in the inseams. I did a combination of those things. I did this by simply basting and then trying it on. And every single time I tried to fix it, it made it look worse. So it just goes to show that for me and probably for everybody else, pants fitting is still a journey. I was not able to get it right on this pair. I kind of suspect that maybe I might have actually needed to take some of the length out of the back leg. And that's not really something that I can do on the pants when they're already made up if I don't want to put a seam on the knee. So I ended up just stitching it back up the way that it was originally, and I'm living with the bagginess, but I don't think that it looks very good. The last thing about these pants that I'm not super crazy about is that I find them pretty hard to style. So the first thing that I tried when I made these pants, because they are a baggier, looser fit, was I thought, oh, I need to balance it out by wearing something tight on top. So I tried like a tight fitting turtleneck, I tried tighter fitting t-shirts, and I just didn't like the way that it looked. On my figure, I felt that it looked very unbalanced. So what I actually settled upon for the styling that actually looked better with these pants, in my opinion, is I went for looser fitting tops with more volume. So in the clip that I'm showing you, I'm styling it with my Megan Nielsen Jara sweater. And I just did a little bit of a front tuck and I'm wearing it with my chunky loafers. I actually really like the way that this looks. It kind of gives me a throwback 80s feel. And I did try these pants on with quite a few tops in my wardrobe just to see what would work. If you'll remember, that was one of the tips that I gave in my How to Look More Stylish video. And I was able to actually come up with quite a few combinations that I think looked pretty good with these pants. So I feel a little bit more optimistic about it than I did when I started. But I still think that I definitely won't make this pattern again, but I also think that if I want to do pleated pants in the future, that I might try two different things. Number one, I think I might try a pattern that has wider legs because I think that might be more flattering on my body type. And the other thing that I think I might try is a flowier fabric, something like a tencel or lyocell twill, something with a little bit more drape, because I think that might also be more attractive on my body type than a stiffer cotton. So now that we've gotten through that saga, I'm ready to move on to some of my other makes that went a lot more smoothly. The next make I want to share with you is the Allen Anthia blouse. This blouse is so incredibly popular in the sewing community. Undoubtedly you have heard of it. It is actually a pattern for a blouse and a dress. It has a high neck that buttons down the front, and the feature is it has really, really poofy sleeves that gather into a narrow cuff. It also finishes with a shirt tail hem on both the blouse and the dress. I made the blouse version in a size 00, which is a size down from my measurements, but I chose the 00 based on the recommendations in the pattern that say that you can size down if you don't want a super oversized fit. The fabric that I used is an Eco Vero rayon that I got from Blackbird Fabrics last year in their Black Friday sale. I really love this print. I thought it was just perfect for fall. I do wish that I had been a little bit more mindful of pattern placement because the two fronts are very similar but just slightly off. And I honestly don't think that it's something that you would notice unless you're really staring at it, but I notice it and it bothers me a little bit. So it's just a reminder that next time I need to be a little bit more careful about where I place my pattern pieces in the future so that that doesn't happen. Now for me, sizing down in this pattern was probably a mistake because what I found was that the neckline was really, really tight. It's actually so tight that I can't button it all the way to the top. Now fortunately for me, I don't like to wear my shirts buttoned up all the way to the top anyway. I'd probably always wear it open. But certainly if I were going to make this pattern again, I would definitely try to find a way to make the neck opening a little bit wider. I think that if I widened the neckline, that would also move the shoulder points out a little bit. I do find them to sit a little bit narrow on my shoulders, but if the neckline were wider, that would make everything kind of spread out a little bit, and then I think it would fit properly. Other than those two things, I found the fit of the blouse to be really good. The only other thing that I'm not crazy about is the length of the blouse. So it does have a short tail hem, and in my mind it looks best when it's tucked in, but I found it to be just a little bit short for that. Every time I try to tuck it in, unless I wear really high-waisted pants like the new pants that I just finished, if they're like more normal pants, it wants to come untucked. So I think that if I made this blouse again in the future, I would probably add just a little bit of length to the top, maybe like 1.5 to 2 inches, so that I could more easily tuck it in and it will stay tucked. I really love how this blouse turned out. I love the style, and I'm definitely putting it on my to make list again in the future. There is a hack on the Anna Allen website to do a different neckline with a ruffle and slightly different sleeves, and I want to try that hack as well, and I might even be interested in trying the dress. In the clip that I'm showing you, I styled it in a very 70s inspired look. I have the blouse tucked into my Fiber Mood Betty trousers that I made last year in a gold corduroy. And then I'm wearing them with my chunky loafers. I really love this outfit. I think that it's super cute. Those pants are a little bit tight for me in the waist, so I don't know if I will wear that combination in reality, but I do have plenty of other items in my wardrobe that I can pair with this blouse, and I think that it's just lovely. If you enjoy my videos and you would like to support my channel, I would really appreciate it if you'd give me a thumbs up, because it signals to YouTube to send out my video to new viewers. Thank you so much for watching. The next make that I want to talk about is the Vicky Sews Laura top. Now, I purchased this top myself because Vicky Sews was having a contest, I guess you would call it. They put out a call for brand ambassadors and they wanted you to make up one of their patterns and post it to Instagram. So I purchased this top as my entry, and I'm very excited to share with you that I was accepted. So this top is a very form-fitting t-shirt that has an asymmetrical neckline and long sleeves. I made a size 36, which is my normal size in Vicky Sews, in the shortest height bracket. The fabric that I used was gifted to me by Morex Fabrics as a gift with no obligation to share, so thank you to Morex Fabric. And this is a stretch velvet burnout fabric. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I would not have chosen this fabric for myself, but I actually got really enchanted by it. I think because it's fall, it just seemed seasonally appropriate. It actually kind of gives me like witchy vibes or like celestial vibes. I just really thought it was perfect for this season. So this pattern was very easy to sew. I'm gonna be honest and say that I didn't really follow the instructions except for the neckline because it's just a t-shirt. Because I had such great success with the lettuce hem the last time I tried it, I went ahead and added it to the sleeves and to the hemline of this top because I thought it just matched the vibe of the top really well, and I love the way that it looks. Now, one thing I will say about the fit of this pattern is that the arms feel pretty tight. Now, I've been working out pretty regularly for over a year now, and my arms have been getting bigger. And I think it might be time to explore expanding the gun cabinet. I've never done a full bicep adjustment before, but I think it might be time to look into that and maybe think about adding it to future patterns. So for the clip, I have styled this with my ready-to-wear suede skirt and my Vivaya sock booties that were gifted to me. And I just wanted to let you know that if you are interested in trying out Vicky Sews, you can use my code SARAH in all caps to get 20% off your purchase of all English language patterns. If you do use my code, I will get a small commission, but it doesn't cost you any extra. Thank you so much for your support. I will also put a link to Vicky Sews down in the description box in case you want to check them out. The next item that I have to share with you is the Simplicity 9388 shirt jacket. This jacket was chosen for September's Sew Your View challenge, and I've been wanting to make this jacket ever since I purchased the pattern, so I decided to take the opportunity because there was a challenge going on to just give it a go. This is a unisex shirt jacket that comes in 3 lengths. It's partially lined. I made the cropped view in a size extra small, and I did modify the sleeves. I shortened them by 2¼ inches for my short arms. The fabric that I used is an absolutely stunning corduroy that I got from Blackbird Fabrics. It's 100% cotton, and it just feels so plush. It's really the nicest corduroy that I have ever felt, and I am very tempted to go back and get more because I think this is one of their staples that they carry all the time. And for the yoke and yoke lining, I used a quilting cotton that was from my stash. Now for this pattern, I found the instructions to be pretty good. It actually instructs you to use the burrito method on both the front and the back yokes. The only thing that I had a little bit of a quibble with was the button placket construction. They have you apply a separate button placket piece, and it's actually the last thing that you do. And I just find that a little bit bulky at the bottom where the hem is, and it makes it a little bit hard to put in a buttonhole down there. But that's probably unique to my machine because my machine really does not like any sort of uneven thick thickness of the fabric, it'll just give up on making the buttonhole halfway through. So that's probably just some of my own frustration with my equipment. Technically, there's nothing wrong with the construction method. I just would have preferred it to be a fold over placket because it's a little bit easier to get the buttonholes in that way. Now the cropped view doesn't actually come with pockets, but the pattern does have inseam pockets for the longer views. So I tried to adapt the pocket piece to put pockets in my jacket, but it was just so big that the pockets actually hung down below the hem of the jacket. So I trimmed them down so that they would actually fit on the sides, but I had to trim them down so much that they're basically teeny tiny pockets that I can barely even get my hand in, so they're pretty useless. So if I were to do this all over again, instead of trying to do inseam pockets, I probably try to put welt pockets on the side. But besides that, I really do like the fit of this jacket. The fabric is just beautiful. I really like the cropped length. I do think that it's quite short. For me, it's pretty perfect. But if you have a longer torso, you may want to consider lengthening it a little bit if you don't want it to be super cropped. The style of this jacket actually really reminds me of a classic jean jacket, but it's easier to construct. So I really do like that aspect of it. I would consider making the longer views as well in the future, but I do have quite a few patterns in my stash for shirt jackets that I want to try, and so I don't think I'm going to make another one of these right away. In the clip, I'm wearing the jacket over my True Bias Nico turtleneck, and I have that tucked into some ready-to-wear skinny jeans with my black lace-up boots. I just love this outfit, and I feel very at home in it. It's something that I think is really suited to my style, and I think that I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this jacket in the fall and winter. The next make I have to share with you is the Seamwork Aberdeen. I absolutely hated this, and I'm never going to wear it, and I did a full review on it, so if you want to know why, check out this video next.